पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण। I had been advised by some senior Vaishnavas to render this service of delivering the Bhagavatam class in Hindi, but I just checked with temple authorities and confirmed that they prefer that I speak in English, so I'll speak in English today. There's translation by my dear friend पांडव प्रेम प्रभु behind. जो भक्त अंग्रेजी नहीं समझ सकते पीछे अनुवाद हो रहा है, पांडव प्रेम प्रभु कर रहे हैं। I seek the blessings and permission of all these senior Vaishnavas present here, that I should be able to render this service for their pleasure and my purification, speaking purely from the purports of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas. Today is a very auspicious day. The first being the appearance day of the Lord Himself. Bhagwan Vamanadeva Avirbhav Tithi Mahamotsav ki. And also the appearance day of one of his dearmost devotees, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad ki. So it's not often that a day coincides like this, where the appearance day of the Lord's expansion as well as his pure devotee happens. It doesn't happen often like that. It's a rare occurrence, and so we should consider ourselves fortunate that such a day is arrived, and we should make the most of this discount sale for mercy. So this is the season for mercy, these 4 months. So you will have a lot of festivals coming up, and today is no exception. Tomorrow also is a great festival. What's the festival tomorrow? What? Appearance or disappearance? So, be grateful to Jitamitra Prabhu for developing this calendar for Delhi. This is useful. Every time before I give a lecture, I check the calendar so that I know if there is any other festival. Yesterday I checked with Prabhuji. He told me that instead of Bhagavatam, I can speak from this topic. So, seek his permission to speak on this. In the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, by Srila Rupa Goswami, it's mentioned that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. So this is clear pramana. Apart from Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many scriptures which confirm. So in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, it is confirmed that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all other expansions or avatars, they come from Him. He is the origin. He is the origin. He is the original, Adyam. Therefore, He is supreme. So this is one conclusion from Laghu Bhagavatamrita. However, some Vaishnavacharyas confirm that it is the same God. There can be no distinction. They are all the same. All the expansions are the same. So there is no hierarchy. True, how can you say that God is greater than Himself? This is also God, there is also God. How can you say God is greater than Himself? But we also know from Brahma Samhita that Deeparchireva hitashantaram abhyupetya deepayate vivrita hetu samana dharma. Which means there is a first candle, the second candle, and multiple candles lit from the first one. But the first candle remains the first candle. So therefore, Ishvara Parama Krishna. However, in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita it is mentioned that it is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, but He manifests differently. He takes different forms, showing a certain aspect of His greatness as is required for that expansion. So, in some incarnations, he reveals his greatness more fully as opposed to others. So therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami analyzes and assesses that primarily there are 4 expansions or forms of the Lord that he has concluded are the topmost. They are called the Paravasta, they are the topmost. One is Krishna. 2 is, any guesses? Balram is great, but Rupa Goswami doesn't choose him. Who else? Lord Ramachandra. We are very fortunate this temple was established on Ram Navami. So there is connection. So Lord Ramachandra. Who is the third one? He is the only form of the Lord who is currently revealing himself directly. Narsingh Dev. And the 4th is whom? Yeah, why will I build up this topic unless the 4th one is Vamanadeva? Yes, the 4th is Vamanadeva. So these are the 4 topmost forms of Godhead that is mentioned here. Acharyas say that Vamanadeva is greater than many of the other incarnations, primarily because it displays the form of beauty, his opulence of beauty. He uses this opulence of beauty to attract Bali Maharaj, attract the demigods, attract Ratnamala, whom Brahma Vaivarta Puran says was the sister of Bali Maharaj, and Garga Samhita says was the daughter of Bali Maharaj. Now this Ratnamala got so attracted to the young boy's beauty, Vamanadeva. Now Vamana means a dwarf. Vamana means a dwarf. That's the beauty of Lord Vamanadeva. Even if he is a dwarf, he will be more beautiful than the most beautiful. What to speak about dwarf? Doesn't make a difference. So therefore, Ratnamala was naturally drawn towards him. She wanted to be his mother and suckle him. And the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, gave her that benediction. So be it. That she could suckle him in future. However, when she found out that her brother or father, as by different versions of the Puranas say, he was bound up by the Varuna Pasha through Garudadev when Lord Vamana took 2 paces of land and put the 3rd pace on his head, thereby confirmedly establishing Bali Maharaj as the Acharya of which limb of Bhakti? Which limb of Bhakti? Atma Nivedanam. Total surrender. Sripad Ramanujacharya says that prapatti by itself is of no use unless it leads to bhakti. And in Bali Maharaj's case, he was already a bhakta. He was born in whose family? Whose grandson was he? Or rather, is he? He's a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj and the son of Virochana. So he's called Vairochani. His grandfather was Prahlad Maharaj. Great grandfather was the great Hiranyakashipu. And Prahlad Maharaj had this benediction that 21 generations, and various versions say even 100 generations in either side will be delivered by the Supreme Lord. And nobody in his family will be killed by the Lord. He will personally protect them. So Virochana had a lot of devotion as well, so he was naturally protected. But a grandson of Bali Maharaj called Sahasika had to be killed. He was a big mischief monger. So therefore, he was reborn as Dhenukasura. And who killed him? Balaram killed him. So the Lord didn't personally kill him to maintain his promise. Then why did he kill Ratnamala, who became so angry with Bali Maharaj being bound up by Vamana? When I say killed Ratnamala, not when she was Ratnamala. She was reborn as who? Putana. So why was she killed by the Lord instead? So he met her desire for suckling him, and he also met her desire for trying to kill him for having bound up her brother or father. So both the desires were met by the Lord when he killed her as Putana. So, but why was she killed although she was from Bali Maharaja's family, Prahlad Maharaja's family? Why? Yes. No, that we already said. That is why she got the opportunity to poison him. Because she had the desire to poison him, he gave her the opportunity to poison him. But the Lord doesn't kill somebody just because they try to kill him. It's not up to him. He's all compassion. Why? Okay. No, it's something simpler. Very logical question. Yes. Yeah. The daughter goes off in another family. She's not part of Prahlad Maharaja's and Bali Maharaja's family. So Acharyas say that therefore, this doesn't apply to her. So therefore Krishna killed her. But Sahasika, though a grandson of Bali Maharaj, was killed. Why? By Balram. Not by Krishna himself. So it's amazing how Krishna manages everything. Many birds with one stone. So Vamana is that great form of the Lord. It displays the form of beauty of the Lord. So let's get into a few more discussions on Vamanadeva for another, say, maybe 15 minutes, and then we'll discuss Srila Jiva Goswami also, because it's a very tricky day for me. One of the topmost scholar, poet, acharyas of our parampara, and one of the complete incarnations of the Lord. So it's a very difficult combination. So normally, which varna does Krishna choose to appear in when he appears as for Paritranaya Sadhana Vinashaya Dushkritam? Why? Normally, what varna does he use? Not yuga, varna. Kshatriya. Comes as a Kshatriya. But in this form, how did he come? In form of Vamanadeva, he came as a Brahmana. Instead, in colloquial Bangla, Bhamana is a disparaging use of the word Brahmana. It's not just dwarf. Bhamana means he's a Brahmana. It's a disparaging way of calling a Brahmana. Colloquial. It's a colloquial form of Brahmana, but it's a disparaging way of addressing a Brahmana. Like sometimes in North India, call a Pandit. It's like that. But however, he was so attractive that he attracted everyone, including the Asuras and the king of the Asuras. And when he comes as Kshatriya, Paritranaya Sadhana Vinashaya Dushkritam, he uses weapons. Except when he appeared in another, let's just say, I don't know whether to call it incarnation. No, it's the Lord himself came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Did he use weapons? Sango Pangastra Parshadam. Those were the weapons. When he tried to invoke Sudarshana, Nityananda Prabhu told him, Jagai Madai, just kill the demonic mentality. Don't kill the demons. This incarnation is not for this. So in this form also, it is unusual for the Lord to appear as a Brahmana, and therefore it is a non-violent incarnation of the Lord. Although we sometimes talk about Buddha preaching non-violence. But here, essentially, the Lord himself appeared as a non-violent expansion. So that's something very special about Vamadeva's appearance. And another word for Vamana is Batu. Another name for is a young Brahmana. We can see Vamanadeva is hidden behind this Shat Goswamis there. Those of you who don't know the layout of this temple, there is Lord Vamana also present there. And those of you who think that Lord Vamana punished Bali Maharaj because he worshipped him. Right? Bali Maharaj was a devotee of the Lord. So Lord Vamana kept his lotus foot, not feet, foot, on his head, bound him up by Varuna Pasha, sent him off to Sutala. So was that punishment? The Lord himself confirms, Yasyaham anugrahami harishesh tadanam shanai. And Srila Prabhupada confirms in the purport, whenever there is a vestige of material desire in the heart of a devotee who is otherwise surrendered to him, the Supreme Lord takes it away. That is why Harihi, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur defines this definition of Hari. It takes it away, like it tells Yudhishthira Maharaj. I take away that so-called desire which is not inclusive of Krishna, so that he takes greater shelter of Krishna. And it is also said that Garuda bound Bali Maharaj with a Varuna Pasha on the instruction of the Supreme Lord to display Bali Maharaj's virtue of tolerance. Srila Prabhupada uses this word, tolerance, displaying the virtue of tolerance of Bali Maharaj. So naturally, tolerance and humility. Atma Nivedanam means complete humility. There has to be complete humility for one to surrender everything. So when there is both Trinadapi Sunichena and Tarorapi Saishnuna and Amanina Manadena, Lord Vishnu came to deceitfully cheat Bali Maharaj. But did Bali Maharaj respect Vamanadeva? Yes, no, yes? Yes. So there is Amanina Manadena also. Therefore, Hari himself bestowed upon him the blessings of Kirtaniya Sadahari. And he is one of the 12 Mahajanas. He is there in Sutala. In the next Manvantara, 8th Manvantara of Savarni Manu, Lord Vamana gave him the benediction. So this is no punishment. You will become Indra. You will defeat the same Purandara and become Indra for the next Manvantara and beyond. Until that time, you will be in Sutala, in the subterranean regions. They call it subterranean, which is below the earth. Terra means earth. Subterranean means below the earth. So below the earth, Sutala, this planet is rivaled, even it is unrivaled by the heavenly planets. Even the Devatas, they are envious of this planet. And in that planet, can you believe it? What is Vamanadeva doing? He is standing as a doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj. Although he is a resident of Svargaloka, Shastra says that Vamanadeva took this special incarnation for the sake of his elder brother Indra. Therefore he is called Upendra. Aditi, wife of Kashyapa, she was tormented by the fact that Bali Maharaj had defeated the Devatas. Therefore, she performed the Payovrata on the instruction of her husband, Kashyapa Muni. Because the Devatas were thrown out of their own kingdom. They had become refugees, poverty-stricken, no effulgence. And why did that happen? Brihaspati confirms to Indra that this happened because, why? Because Bali Maharaj had great faith in his spiritual master, Shukracharya. Because Shukracharya was pleased by him, and all the descendants and followers of Bhrigu Muni came personally to perform a sacrifice for Bali Maharaj. Because of which they were all pleased, they blessed him. And because of his spiritual master being pleased, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado, without Krishna's mercy, you cannot get any opulence, because everything is a fragment of his opulence. Mama Tejamsha Sambhavam. So everything is his opulence, fragment of his opulence. So therefore Bali got a huge kingdom, the entire universe, because he was truthful to Guru. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Plana Simdev ki jai, Shri Radha Parthasarthi, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Radha Parthasarthi Lalita Vishakha ki jai. Vamanadeva incarnated also to show, of course, Bali Maharaj's humility and tolerance, but Bali Maharaj's adherence to truth. Vamanadeva was angry mischievously angry towards Bali Maharaj. Prabhupada uses the word mischievously in the translation. Why? Because when he came to Bali Maharaj as a young little boy, Batu, Vamana, he came to Bali Maharaj and said, I wanted 3 paces of land. So Bali Maharaj calls him Abuddhiman, not intelligent. When you can get more, why are you asking for less? I can give you much more. And what does Vamanadeva reply? On our behalf, on behalf of the brahmacharis, brahmanas, sannyasis, he responds saying, one who has uncontrolled senses can never be satisfied. What to speak about 3 paces of land? Even if you give him the whole universe, he will be unsatisfied. And Bali Maharaj says, when he was bound up by Vamanadeva, that with 1 pace he covered the middle and lower planets, and 1 pace he covered the upper planets. So everything is covered. They say his toenail cut through the Karana ocean, the covering of the universe, and the Karana ocean bathed him, and Mother Ganges bathed his lotus feet. Mother Ganga bathed his lotus feet. Riksharaj Jambavan circumambulated his lotus feet when he was measuring the universe. All this is mentioned in various descriptions. Vamanadeva was angry. You have not met your promise. And Shukracharya on top of that, the very same guru he tried to please, because of which he got a kingdom as unrivaled by anyone, cursed him because he told him this is Vishnu, don't serve him. He says, if it is Vishnu, he will either kill me but not be killed by me. Shayita, he uses the word. He will lie down. But Acharya say lie down means killed. Vishnu cannot be killed. Why? Of course he is God. But Vishnu is in his own heart. He is alive in his own heart. Acharyas say that in Bali Maharaj's heart. So Bali Maharaj says that I am not afraid of this hellish condition, just like Prahlad Maharaj says. His grandfather said, same way. I am not afraid of being cast into hell, because the same Shukracharya curses him. You did not listen to me. You gave in charity to this Brahmin boy who is Vishnu. I curse you to go to hell. His family was about to abandon him. He was bound up by Varuna Pasha. He was cast into hell. Yet he did not give up devotion to the Supreme Lord. And that pleased Vamanadeva. His wife Vindhyavali also came and offered prayers. That what can we give you in charity, who owns everything? What do we give you? Brahma also said, he has been punished enough. No, please leave him. Brahma is Guru, no? Acharya, our parampara. So Brahma is naturally merciful. He is pleading with Krishna for people. Like the Guru pleads with Krishna for us. He's got problems. He's got hundreds of problems. But still, he's chanting your name. So please accept him. But similarly, Brahmaji requested the Lord. And the Lord said, because of his adherence to truth, I am actually pleased with him. I wanted to display his adherence to truth and his tolerance. So therefore, he will be sent to Sutala, where I will be his doorkeeper. He will become the Indra in the Savarni Manvantara. Notwithstanding the fact that we all know that he is one of the Mahajanas. Balir Vayasaki Vayam. That Bali is Mahabali. There are many versions which say that he promised that from Sutala he can come once a year. Incidentally, yesterday was that day. In Kerala, they celebrate the day as Onam. Onam is the day because Mahabali used to govern in that part of the world, is what many devotees believe. So that day he came. He comes every year to visit his subjects. Huh? Yeah, Bali Daitya Puja. We have there in the calendar also. Bali Daitya Raj Puja. Gaudiya Vaishnavas observe it that way. But Malayalis worshipped yesterday. So So I had that dilemma since I am Malayali. But fortunately, since we are connected to Srila Prabhupada's Parampara, he tells us the right approach to celebrating festivals. You know what's the actual festival and what's the actual mood. Bali Maharaj is a pure Vaishnava. He is not just another king. So just a couple of points, then we'll move on to... Let's read from Srimad Bhagavatam itself. Some very important prayers, because this will really purify us. You can take down the verse number if you want. So we are now reading from 8, 19, 16. Chapter number 19 of the 8th canto, 16th shloka. Chapter entitled Lord Vamanadeva begs charity from Bali Maharaj. So he says, Tasmat tvatto mahim ishad vrineham varadarshabhat padani trini daityendra samhitani padamama. O King of the Daityas, from your majesty, you come from such a noble family and who are able to give charity munificently. I ask only 3 pesos of land to the measurement of its steps. See, it's a nice prayer, a nice statement. To the measurement of its steps. He didn't say how big are the steps. He didn't say in this form. So, further he says, Nanyate kame rajan vadanya jagadishwarat naina prapnodi vai vipadarta pratigrahaha. So he says that although you are very munificent and are able to give me as much as I want, it's not like Bali Maharaj cannot give more. He knows Bali Maharaj can give more. But I only want 3. And a Brahmana, when he asks in charity, he doesn't become entangled. So an Iskcon devotee, when he asks for Krishna, he doesn't become entangled. When he asks for himself, he becomes entangled. This is 8, 9, 16, 17, 18. He doesn't say Iskcon devotee asks, he doesn't get entangled. That is a personal statement. Okay, so he says, Swartham prati abudayo yatha. You are a boy and your intelligence is insufficient. Thus you are not very prudent in regard to your self-interest. Bali Maharaj is telling him that. So these are important verses. Now let's move. What Bali Maharaj says. What Vamanadeva says. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Yavanto Vishaya Preshta Strilokyam Achitendriyam Nashaknuvandite Sarve Pratipurayitum Nripa. The personality of God had said, Oh my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. This is 8, 19, 21. Fantastic prayers to be memorized. So Vamadeva's appearance teaches us not to desire beyond what we deserve. If I were not satisfied with 3 pesos of land, then surely I would not be satisfied even with possessing one of the 7 islands consisting of 9 varshas. Even if I possessed 1 island, I would hope to get others. If I get a BMW, I would like to get a Jaguar. If I get a Jaguar, I'd like to get the latest new car, some other model of Porsche which has come out. If I have all the cars in the world, I'd like to buy the car owning companies. If I have all the car companies, I'd like to buy the trucks. So there is no end to it. So let's get to a couple of other prayers. I'll just tell you what are the prayers. Please look them up. In 8th canto, 22nd chapter are Bali Maharaj's prayers. Because when he was bound up by the Varuna Pasha, Bali Maharaj prays to Vamanadeva. And Vamanadeva is pleased with him. And Prahlad Maharaj also appears. You know what Prahlad Maharaj says? Okay, somebody wants to volunteer, raise your hands and tell me what Prahlad Maharaj tells Bali Maharaj and Lord Vamanadeva when he appears there. Can anyone check? Anyone guess? His grandson is being bound up by Varuna Pasha. by the same God whom he believes in. Like the German widows of World War stopped believing in God because their husbands were killed in World War II. Prabhupada talks about this in On the Way to Krishna. But what did Prahlad Maharaj say? If you were to have blessed him, my Lord, and when you have bound him up, my Lord, in both cases you are equally beautiful and merciful. Both are your mercy. That only a pure devotee of the Lord can see it that way. He did not say, oh, this is my grandson. You promised me you would not mess around with my family. Look what you've done. I don't believe in you anymore. What kind of God are you? No. So because he learned from Prahlad Maharaj, Mahajano yana gatassa panta. In one sense, this is the only family where there are two Mahajanas. Isn't it? Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, both from the same family. Amazing family. We say Tatas, Birlas, Ambanis. Industrialist son becomes industrialist. Lawyer's son becomes lawyer. Doctor's son becomes doctor. Thief's son becomes thief. Mahajan's grandson becoming Mahajan. Not a bad deal. So on this day, we pray to Lord Vamanadeva that just like he destroyed the false ego or material desire of Bali Maharaj, although it was, just to illustrate before us, Bali Maharaj was a Mahajana. That the pastime itself he mentioned that if there is some amount of material desire, the Lord takes it away. He had the opulence and the desire to have that opulence. So almost like, in one sense, there is similarity to Dhruva Maharaj's case in this. So he rewarded him a great kingdom and also gave him pure devotion. So that's a good deal. In Brihad Bhagavatamrit, Narad Muni goes to the heavenly planets on the advice of a devotee, of a Vaishnava. And he tells him the demigods are the biggest devotees. And of them the greatest is Indra. So he goes to Indra and Indra says, I'm not the greatest devotee. Because I don't have devotion to, he says, your brother Upendra appeared in your family. So you are a great devotee, Narad Muni says. Upendra is your, or Urukrama, Shanno Vishnu Urukramaha. Urukrama is Vamanadeva himself. Urukrama means wonderful actor. And he acted. Wonderful actor who acted deceitfully. He cheated Indra. Not Indra, he cheated Bali Maharaj. So Indra says, I am a Kshatriya. I cannot accept somebody winning me a kingdom by cheating. So therefore, I am not so impressed with Vamanadeva. Therefore, I am not a great devotee of Vamanadeva. Actually, it's Indra's humility. And we know that Kashyapa and Aditi became the medium for Vamanadeva to appear. Later on, Prishni and Sutapa, they came as Prishni and Sutapa, and Prishni Garbha appeared. And later on, Devaki and Vasudeva came, and the Supreme Lord himself appeared. So it is the same Supreme Lord and his parents. So we pray to Vamanadeva to destroy our false ego, to take away whatever we think is ours, and surrender everything to him, and award us pure devotion on the path of Bali Maharaj's pure devotee. Shri Vamanadeva Avirbhav Tidi Mahamotsav ki, Bali Daitaraj ki. Sri Rupa Charana Dvandva Raginam Brajavasinam Sri Jivam Satatam Vande Mandeshwananda Dainam. Bhakti Ratnakara, chapter 4, verse number 289. This is how Srila Jiva Goswami is glorified. Sri Rupa Charana Dvanda Raginam Brajavasinam, attached to the lotus feet, twin lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. Brajavasinam is an inhabitant of Braja. And then what is mentioned? Sri Jivam Satatam Vande Mandeshwananda Dainam. I offer forever obeisances to Srila Jiva Goswami, who provides bliss to the dull-minded people. Mandeshu Ananda Dainam. Because he rewards them effulgent knowledge. 400,000 verses on pure bhakti. Even the whole Puranas put together is only that much. And apart from that, several other 100,000 verses. Scholarly plus poetic. 500,000 verses is what some books say. 500,000 verses on the Lord. He was a poet and a philosopher and above all a devotee. He appeared as the nephew of Rup and Sanatan, their third brother, Anupam's son. Some people say he appeared in Ramkeli. There are conflicting accounts about his date, and nothing much is known of his mother or the child or his childhood, except that he was so attached to Krishna Balaram dolls, that wooden forms, that he kept clinging to them even while sleeping. Family thought he was just playful, but the villagers knew he was in pure devotion. Then he mastered grammar, tarka, nyaya, logic, everything at a very young age. By the age of 16, he had done all this. He had served his parents and then they passed away. That is one version. Elsewhere it is mentioned that Anupam accompanied Rup Sanatan and he passed away at Banaras. Banaras, Rudy? So he went to Banaras on the instructions of Sriman Nityanand Prabhu himself, who told him first that let's go on Navdeep Mandal Parikrama, the very first Navdeep Mandal Parikrama. Because he went to Navdeep, because Mahaprabhu had gone back to his abode. So he went on the first Navdeep Mandal Parikrama. And then he instructed him on the principles of bhakti, kept his lotus feet personally on his head. Although Jiva Goswami had as a little boy, already had darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa and Sanatana had taken him, and had kept the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his head. So he was already blessed. He's the second youngest of the 6 Goswamis. Raghunatha is the youngest. He's the second youngest. So Jiva Goswami later on took Shastric training from Madhusudan Vachaspati, who's the brother of who? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So all that knowledge that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had imparted was passed on to Madhusudan Vachaspati through Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also, and Jiva Goswami became a champion of Vedanta and a great scholar, because Banaras is the Adda, as they say, of Mayavadis, the camp of Mayavadis. So Vedanta, he learned from Vaishnava Vedantins and he became an authority. Then he was sent by Nityananda Prabhu, on his instruction he went to Vrindavan to assist Rup Sanatan in their book work, translating, editing, etc. But it was not just that. He used to perform deity worship, perform massage for them, get them water for bathing, clean up the place, and also edit their books. It's not just that I will only do one form of service because I am an expert in this. A devotee has to be a daksha, an expert. But expert in many things. We heard Srila Prabhupada say a devotee has to be master of one thing and jack of all things and master of one, and essentially what it means is jack of all things and master of one, and master of all things, everything about something and something about everything. That's the point. Thank you. Everything about something and something about everything. Jiva Goswami was in many sense beyond that. He knew everything about everything. And he wrote the 6 Sandarbhas. He wrote Gopal Chambu. When did he write Gopal Chambu? Acharyas say that there was a Digvijay Pandit who came to argue with Rup Sanatan. And Rup Sanatan, they don't have time for all this nonsense. We don't have time to debate. We don't have time to get into arguments with people. So they said, okay, fine, you win, yaar, go. Take this certificate. So he went around boasting that, I've defeated Rup Sanatan. And by the bank of Yamuna, Jiva Goswami met him and smashed him. Not physically, debate. When Rup Goswami got to know this, he said, you don't have place in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is not a place for people who want to argue and defeat people. This is based on envy. Unless there is perfect instruction, specific instruction and blessings from Guru and Srimati Radha Rani, one cannot be in Vrindavan. And even one is physically in Vrindavan, one cannot be in Vrindavan, consciousness-wise. That is the classic example of Srila Prabhupada. He gave up Vrindavan to give Vrindavan. And because he gave up Vrindavan to give Vrindavan, he gave up Krishna to give Krishna. Then Krishna gave him Vrindavan and gave himself to him. And that is why Krishna was born in the womb of Iskcon. 50th anniversary of Iskcon Ki. So Srila Jiva Goswami is the top acharya of our sampradaya, not just because of his scholarly nature and devotion, but also because Srila Prabhupada draws heavily from Jiva Goswami's purports. In his Srimad Bhagavatam Bhaktivedanta purports, up to the 10th canto middle, whatever Prabhupada has written commentary on, it's all drawn from Srila Jiva Goswami's purports. Many of them. There are also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sridhar Swami. But acharyas say that a lot of it is Jiva Goswami's commentaries, and he heavily shows his indebtedness to Jiva Goswami. There are several versions which say that Vallabh Bhatt, the establisher of Pushti Marga, I have heard this from Srila Gaur Govindam Maharaj as well, that Vallabh Bhatt was puffed up and he found a mistake in Rup Goswami's shloka in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhukti Mukti Spruhayavad Pishachi Hridi Vartate, that verse. So he said, Bhukti and Mukti cannot be Pishachi. So Rup Goswami said, yes, that's right, I will correct it. Later on, Jiva Goswami met him and said, Sripad, what fault did you find in this? So he said that, no, this is what it is. So he said, but it is not Mukti that is Pishachi, but this Spruha for Mukti that is Pishachi. The desire for Mukti. And Srila Jiva Goswami has written in this Sandarbhas, Bhajaniya Parama Purusha Sukha Matra Swasukhatvam. One meditation for today on Jiva Goswami's appearance day should be that Bhajaniya Parama Purusha Sukha Matra Swasukhatvam. Our prayers should be only to please the Supreme Lord, Parama Purusha. His Sukham, Matra Swasukhatvam. My pleasure lies in pleasing Krishna. The subject matter of Bhagavad Gita is to please the senses of Krishna. Similarly, Jiva Goswami has told us we should please Krishna. So that should be your meditation today on Jiva Goswami's appearance day. And he lived in a crocodile cave, a cave abandoned by crocodiles, crocodile invested cave. Complete austerity, no food, no water, several weeks, some people say months. And there is one version which says, floating by the Yamuna, he saw a paper about the pastimes of Krishna. He saw that paper, he got inspired, and he wrote Gopal Champu, the great treatise on Krishna's pastimes. So he's not just a poet and a philosopher and a scholar. There is Jiva Goswami Vidyapit, established in Banaras Hindu University, completely dedicated to studying Jiva Goswami's books. We also have Jiva Institute in Vrindavan. There's so much he has written about Krishna. Let's just quickly study what he talks about in the Shat Sandarbhas. There are 6 Sandarbhas that he wrote. These Sandarbhas are practically, they are the encyclopedical version of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam Encyclopedia. If you want a Bhagavatam Encyclopedia, this Shat Sandarbha. So what are the Shat Sandarbhas? Let's quickly understand those. First Sandarbha is Tattva Sandarbha. There he establishes how Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. What is the supreme absolute truth? He establishes first the supremacy of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is Tattva Sandarbha. Srimad Bhagavatam is supreme because it is the pramana, Shabda pramana for understanding the absolute truth. That is the first Sandarbha. He also talks about deity worship also in it. Some part of deity worship also talks about it. So there are different statements which glorify Bhagavatam and establish it as the authoritative pramana for establishing Krishna as the absolute truth. Then the second Sandarbha is Bhagavat Sandarbha. In the Bhagavat Sandarbha, it talks everything about Bhagavan in detail. Third Sandarbha is Paramatma Sandarbha, where it talks about how the absolute truth is present in all living entities. Swamshena sarvat anubrit manasi pratita. as Gajendra prays. He is in charge of all the energies, spiritual, material, the jivas, etc. It also shows the Shad Aishwarya of Krishna. This talks about that, Paramatma Sandarbha, Shad Aishwarya of Krishna. It talks about how Krishna reciprocates, especially with his devotees. All this comes in Paramatma Sandarbha. Fourth is Krishna Sandarbha. What is Krishna Sandarbha? Essentially, the original absolute truth is Sri Krishna. That's the primary description of Krishna Sandarbha. Now the first four Sandarbhas talk about Sambandha Tattva. We and our relationship with Krishna. The fifth one, which is Bhakti Sandarbha, talks about Abhideya, how sadhana is important. Sadhana Bhakti is essential. Perfection can be achieved only through sadhana bhakti. And Srila Prabhupada says, Bali Maharaj is an example of Kripa Siddha, not Sadhana Siddha. He received mercy from Prahlad Maharaj, his grandfather. Therefore, he is Kripa Siddha. And therefore, he attained love of Godhead. That's the connection between the appearance of Jiva Goswami and appearance of Vamanadeva. And the sixth Sandarbha, which is Preeti Sandarbha. Okay, what does Preeti Sandarbha talk about? Love of God, Prayojana, perfection. Topmost perfection is Prema, Prema Bhakti. So these are the six Sandarbhas. He also wrote several other books. He wrote commentaries on many books of Rupa Goswami. He wrote also Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu commentary also. Several other commentaries, hundreds and thousands of verses, 70 books. We already talked about the Sandarbhas. We talked about how he wrote Gopal Champu. He also helped in Hari Bhakti Vilas. He helped in Shatkriya Saradipika. Several pieces of work he has helped. Other Goswamis also. It's not just his work alone. And Akbar called him, some people say, to check who is greater, Yamuna or Ganga. So he said, because Krishna awarded the pastimes of his personal life to Yamuna, therefore Yamuna is greater. But then, we all know Ganga got the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, bathing in her. So we should pray to Srila Goswami that today, on Vamadeva's appearance, we have Bhajaniya Parama Purusha Sukhamatra Swasukatvam. Srila Jiva Goswami Pad Avirbhav Tithi Mahamotsav ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Questions, comments before Pushpanjali? Yes, Panchajanavnath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. बहुत अच्छा class दिया. Prabhuji, my question was, you told Bali Maharaj got perfection because he is surrendered to his Guru. But his Guru...
He didn't say perfection. I said he got opulences. Because he got those kingdom, etc. He could conquer Indra because he was surrendered to his Guru.
Oh. So, means my question was, he was not in the line of Vaishnavas or...
That's what. I thought I answered your question now. If I have given that impression, then I'm sorry. What I intended to communicate was that, in fact, if you remember that point that Mama Tejamsa Sambhavam, I said that point, right? All opulence comes from Krishna. That sense, it has come from Krishna. But essentially, he pleased his Guru Shukracharya, so he's rewarded a kingdom which is the heavenly planet. He could defeat Indra. It is said that Indra could not handle the effulgence of Bali Maharaj. So they just became invisible. Prabhupada uses the word invisible. No, Prabhupada, some other Acharya, contemporary Acharya says invisible. So, it's not that he got love of Godhead because he followed Shukracharya. Shukracharya told him to go away from Vishnu. In fact, that is the example of abandoning one's Guru. Prabhupada gives that example in Bhagavad Gita. One can even exceptionally abandon Guru if he is taking you away from Krishna. Does that answer your question? I think it's time for Pushpanjali. Or if maybe Prabhuji can speak something before.
केवल दो शब्द हैं कि आज वामनदेव का आविर्भाव दिवस है और 12 आदित्यों में वामनदेव सबसे छोटे हैं और आज जीव गोस्वामी का आविर्भाव दिवस है और उम्र के अनुसार जो है 6 गोस्वामियों में सबसे छोटे जीव गोस्वामी हैं तो आज बहुत ही विशेष दिन है। भाई सबसे छोटे का जो है विशेष महत्व है आज के दिन। शिला जीव गोस्वामी आविर्भाव तिथि महामहोत्सव की वामन देव आविर्भाव तिथि
One of the 12 Adityas blessed one of the 12 Mahajanas. That's the other coincidence. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
सब लोग आ जाएं पुष्पांजलि के लिए.